How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be taking a look at MULN and as well as for Polestar. We saw some strength inside of the markets today. We also did see a lot of buying coming through the EV sector, and many stocks were able to benefit. So let's go over these plays and see what they look like going into tomorrow. Now, as far as for MULN, it ended up closing at 69 cents, being up 2.87%. On the low, it tested 69 cents, and then on the high, testing 72 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 63.487 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 75.463 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and we also did see some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, MULN does continue to look bearish. It is trading below all of our major moving averages, which is a 50 EMA, the 21 EMA, and as well as the 9 EMA. But it was able to find support at 69 cents, and seeing a high at 72 cents is a good look overall. We end up having a higher low and a higher high, and now we want to see a move going to the 9 EMA. It is currently at 76 cents, so that's a level you're going to want to watch very closely to see if it can get there. If it does get there, even if we can have a close around 73 cents, that would be a good look as well. And then you'd want to see going into Friday if it can make a move going to the 21 at around 82 cents. Again, the most bullish case scenario here. If it decides to have a pullback now, then of course we could see it going below 67 cents. And I told you guys that it does have a gap that needs to be filled right here around 62 cents. Not far off whatsoever, so you want to make sure you're adding that to your homework. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information from MULN. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 24th, we have Northern Small Cap Index Fund that purchased 8,065 shares. We have EQ Advisors Trust that purchased 4,119 shares. We have T. Rowe Price Small Cap Index Fund that purchased 580 shares. We have EQ Advisors Trust that purchased 19,659 shares. And we also see another position of 683 shares. And we have, we already covered Calvert Variable Products Inc., and they had a position of 1,138 shares. So a good amount of activity there. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 46.90%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 12.97 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 600,000, updated 3 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 20.05%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 22nd, it is at 55.09, and then for the close of the 23rd, it was at 46.90. So that is a significant decrease right there. But when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 15.24%, MULN does continue to have short squeeze potential. So let's see what MULN does going into tomorrow. It will be interesting. I feel like we might have some more buying coming into the EV sector, knowing that Tesla is going to be having a stock split. So taking that into consideration, you'd want to keep MULN on close watch. Now let's move on to Polestar. Taking a look at the chart for Polestar, you can see we closed at $8.35, no change whatsoever from the previous day. On the low, we tested $8.30, and then on the high, testing $8.55. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 997,229 shares, and then for the average volume over 10 trading days, it was at 1.398 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and of course, we saw no change in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, Polestar still continues to look bearish. It is trading below all of our major moving averages, which is the 9 EMA, the 21 EMA, and as well as the 51 EMA. And as far as where we saw resistance on the day, since it was at $8.55, this is not a good sign whatsoever. We ended up having a lower high, but the good thing is we did form a higher low. So going into tomorrow, what do we want to see? We want to see Polestar making another test at 855 and then seeing if it can make a move to 864, which was on the high of the previous day. If it's able to break above this level, that's where we want to see that move going into that $8.80 range. If we're able to pull this off, then we do have the 9 EMA, which is at $8.93. So bulls are going to be keeping an eye on that level, especially as we come closer to the end of the week. If we continue to see some weakness now, we already know that the 52-week low is at $8.19. And knowing that it tested a low at $8.30, if we end up having a close at $8.25 and so forth, not a good sign. That's where we could see Polestar officially testing that $8 level, and then we want to see what it would do from there. But in my personal opinion, this stock is quite beaten up. You can also see from the stochastics down below, it looks like it could continue, but if it starts to turn around, I think it will move fairly quickly in my opinion. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information for Polestar. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 54.14%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is at 475,885 shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 1,000, updated 6 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, the latest is at 157.63%, and on the max on the day, it was at 165.95%. Then when we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 22nd, it was at 55.41. And then for the close of the 23rd, it was at 54.14. So we see a slight decrease. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float, it still remains consistent, being in that 7% range. But to be exact, it is at 7.26%. So that pretty much sums up the video. We also did have a catalyst for Polestar saying that they're going to be supplying batteries for Candela's flying electric boats. So that is great that we did get that news. Unfortunately, it didn't help the stock too much for today, but I want you guys to make sure that you're watching it going into tomorrow. We have Tesla that's going to be having a stock split, and this could be bringing some momentum inside of the EV sector, and we want to see what Polestar is going to do. We want to see how is it going to react. We also have to take into consideration that we have GDP numbers that are going to be coming out. So depending on what the market direction is, I could see Polestar following along with it. So pay attention to those levels that I said to the upside and as well as for the downside, and you should have a good idea of where the stock could potentially go. So if you're new to this channel, make sure that you subscribe if you found this video helpful, and if you got a lot of value out of it, make sure that you hit the like button. I'll be talking to you guys real soon, and let's see what these plays do.